Welcome.
Welcome back to the EUvsVirus live studio coming at you from Oslo, Norway. My name is Matt C. Smith, and this is
Arias, and this is the closing ceremony of the MATCHATHON, Matt.
I know.
Oh my God, we've been part of this for now like 6 or 5 weeks.
I know, thank God.
No,
we've loved it. Of course, it's been fun.
Yeah, the EUvsVirus journey has been amazing. And yeah, the last couple of days, we've been interviewing tons of influential and amazing people from all over the world. So make sure to go back in our library and have a look.
Video library of the Facebook page for the EUvsVirus. It is littered with fantastic content. We've had government officials, we've had founders with exits, we've had everyone that you can imagine, all different elements to add value to the startup and innovation ecosystem, both in Europe and internationally, because this study, and this is very much a case study now for what's happened with the hackathon and matchathon as well, that we have been enjoying this weekend, because it just goes to show what the European Union, united once again, as it is, can do. And it's amazing that it takes us to become more virtual, to really connect without the borders that we see on a normal out of COVID environment, actually. But this evening is the final remarks. We're going to hear some of the facts, figures, and numbers behind what's happened. So tune in till the end. But before we go on, we always do a classic thing. We kick things off this way. Tag your flag, if I can get out of my bag. Tag your flag. Tag your flag, everyone. We want to know where you are in Europe and in the world, because this is a collective effort. So I'm going to put our flag here, Lydia. There you go.
I love it. It's so cozy, you know? I actually became more like, what is good? Patriotic? No, what
patriotic.
is it?
Patriotic.
And I kind of, yeah, it's a charm coming from Norway when you put up that flag. But also, as Matt always mentioned, it's like if you are a team that have been participating in the Matchathon, tag your names and the links to your webpage, because this is a chance for you to be discovered of investors, for example.
Whatever you're looking for, this is the closing remarks. People will watch this. This will be one of the videos that people will watch. The openings and closings are typically the highest viewed pieces of content. So make sure, as Arias said, tag your teammates, tag your URL. If you've got a Facebook page, share it right now on the links, because people will follow the trail and they'll be interested to see the companies that have come out of this. But let's hear from the people behind it.
Yeah, let's dig into the story with the first man, Jean-David Malo. You are the director of the European Innovation Council, Task Force European Commission. Why don't you give us a brief recap and overview of how the last month have been with the EUvsVirus?
Oh, good evening, colleagues. Good evening, guys. It's amazing how you are doing it. Really, I love it. And by the way, I love the reference to the patriotic approach. I mean, patriotic is not nationalist approach. It's something totally different, and you're right to do it. So I'm French, but I'm living in Belgium, and I'm working for the European Commission. And currently, I'm in Brussels, at home, like a number of people. No. In the introduction of this closing ceremony, I just would like to share with everybody a number of figures, but also to give a little bit of perspective. This is not an end, and I would like to start by this. This is a journey that has started, as it was recalled a few seconds ago, something like 5 or 6 weeks ago, with something enormous and impressive, which was the Pan-EU hackathon, the EUvsVirus hackathon, where not less than almost 21,000 people have participated. It was remarkable. Yes, you can applaud. I mean, it was a record worldwide. It was amazing. I mean, people are coming with something like 2,100 solutions in order to tackle various angles of the consequences of the COVID crisis, and coming from different areas, being of course health and life in majority, but also relating to business continuity, remote working, education, social and political cohesion, digital finance, and any other challenges. And out of which 117 most promising solutions have emerged. This was a first step, already a very remarkable one. But then it would have been a pity if we would not have created the condition in order for those innovators to have the possibility to turn their great and inspiring ideas into reality for the benefit of all our citizens in Europe, but also worldwide, because we should never forget that one of the characteristics of the European Union is this universal approach in this fight against the virus. And this is where, in fact, the idea of the MATCHATHON emerged. And I have to say that when I have seen the number of partners, something like 400 partners, being investors, being corporates, being universities, so I mean coming from various part of the innovation ecosystem, who decided to join this effort in order to find potential solutions in order to turn into reality the 117 plus 3. Why plus 3? Because we have decided to go a step forward in our synergy with other actors, in particular with the result of the General Act, the Global Act, the Digital Act that was organized by a colleague of the EIT Digital Kick. So how it was impressive to see that the 400 partners were ready to try to find solutions for this 120 innovative solutions. I have to say that I was personally more than surprised to see the willingness, the commitment, not only of those partners and those innovators, but all the other people who help in order to make this connection turning into reality. I'm thinking of the volunteers, the account managers who made a great job.
Yeah, no, I'll just thank him.
And I would like, in this context, just to illustrate this by saying that right now, and we are not yet at the end of the MATCHATHON exercise, right now, more than 1,440 meetings, one-to-one meetings between the 120 winning teams and the 400 partners took place. And this is already giving birth to something like almost 200 commitments, 200 pledges. But I know that Nikolaos will be able in a few minutes to say even more on this and to give even more brighter results. So I will leave him the floor in a minute. So it's very amazing to see this commitment on the various parts of the innovation ecosystem, and to see that those innovative ideas have, for the huge majority of them, now the possibility to go a step forward. I would like at this stage also to say that we will announce a bit later the final result. I know that you will say a few words at the end of this ceremony, so I don't want to give more information on this for the time being. But just to say that this MATCHATHON is only a next step, because after the MATCHATHON, I can already announce that the winners will also receive, in addition to the commitments they are receiving and they will receive from the number of partners they met in the last days, will receive also a direct access to the European Innovation Council Business Acceleration Services. So this will be provided for free. This will take different forms, taking the form of coaching or mentoring, but also access to a number of corporates that maybe were not present during this MATCHATHON, other ones that make sense maybe. So this will be live as soon as the result will be announced, and it will contribute to this effort. Maybe also a few words regarding the place of this initiative. I mean, this initiative is one key initiative on the side of the EU strategy to tackle the COVID crisis. Let's say that this is the short-term initiative where we would like to address initiatives that could deliver quickly on the market. But of course, you can imagine, and I'm sure that you are aware that we are working very hard in order to tackle the crisis at a medium and long term. At midterm, I just would like to illustrate the fact that, for example, in the context of the European Innovation Council, as you know, we have launched a specific call dedicated to COVID solution. We will announce the result in 1 week time. And I can already tell you that we have a number of very promising startups and SMEs dealing with the COVID in the health sector, be it on diagnostic or therapeutics or tools, or even one dealing with the vaccine that will be announced. On top of this, we have launched a number of initiatives regarding clinical trials, because this is certainly one of the domains where we have to do a lot in view of the long-term perspective, which is obviously the development of the vaccine. And on this, the Commission will come soon with a strategy regarding the vaccine, together, hopefully, with the support of member states. Of course, not forgetting the big pledge event that you are fully aware that were launched at the initiative of our president, Mrs. von der Leyen, on the 4th of May, and where we have already collected more than 7.4 billion euro in order to deal with therapeutics, with diagnostic and vaccines, and where we pledge is continuing with the objective to develop quickly a vaccine for the benefit of all the world citizens. So I will stop there. I just would like to use this opportunity to thank everybody warmly. And this is a new demonstration that if we are working all together in Europe, we can have a huge impact. We can change things. We can build a society that tomorrow will be more sustainable, more resilient. And I hope that we learn from the lesson of this crisis in the future in order to build an even stronger and more sustainable and more inclusive Europe for the benefit of all our citizens. Thanks to everybody.
Thank you, Jean-David, and thank you for helping create this movement and building this community, helping fight COVID-19. So thank you, and also for joining this call today. Next up, Matt.
Miguel
Arias.
He is the Global Entrepreneurship Director of Telefonica, the large telecommunication provider around Europe. Many of you will be familiar with it. Welcome to our evening session, Miguel. How are you?
I'm fine, friend. Greetings from sunny Madrid. How are you doing?
We are loving it. We are coming in live from our Oslo studio. We've been sitting and living in the studio for
2 days. Yeah.
Well, 2 days at least for this part, but for the better part of a month now. And it's been fantastic to see the things, the teams, the ideas come through. But I want to hear from you as one of the core partners. How have you seen this hackathon and this matchathon contribute?
Wonderful. Well, the whole process of the hackathon has been a blast, right? We felt amazing energy. We met passionate, and we have experienced a tremendous spirit of cooperation, I would say, right? I think, as Jean-David mentioned, with more than 400 corporate university partners from pharma to tech, consulting, manufacturing. I mean, it was great to see them also engage over the last week, right? And we at Telefonica, we had more than 10 members, right? Very, very much involved as mentors, jury, and we love the creation of this community through the channels, the meetings, all the great effort of the account managers, and we wanted it to last longer, I would say. So we are a bit sad it is ending, right? It's really great to see so many ideas that have been, I don't know, fostered to fight COVID pandemic. And it's very motivating to be part of this change in Europe, where we are all standing together to fight the disease. But I want to say something very, very relevant for me. I think that the matchathon is super, super important, because we at Telefonica, we do a lot of innovation calls over the year, all over our footprint. And don't get me wrong, I mean, they are very important to generate awareness and to enable scouting of startups. But if you just announce a list of winners or a list of new projects after the hackathon, then most likely nothing happens afterward, right? And I call this the innovation theater. And what I like very much about this initiative is that we are measuring success only by the number of activities, or by the number of applicants or number of mentors, which is all amazing. But there is this strong focus on what is going to happen in the next weeks and months, right? How we are able to achieve these lasting results, right? I think that the Matchathon has enabled this generation of trust, and more important than trust, even bonds, which is a foundation to enable a room for experimentation and risk taking between the corporates and the startups. So I think that was very important that we did all the extra effort after the hackathon to ensure that we really meet the teams, that we get to know them, and that we now have a plan of what's going to happen afterwards, right? I mean, we will announce, well, all the winners shortly, right? And we had a lot of internal discussion on our end to pick the startup, which is really fitting more with our own strategy and assets, so that we can really work together, right? I think it's very important that we find this alignment within the corporation and the startup. So the selected winner will join our Open Future initiative, and will have access to our incubation space at no cost. We will have them with mentoring, and more importantly, with scaling up support. And we will have a fast track to ensure that we can get to our investment tickets, which are up to €250,000. So as said, not just the hackathon, not just even meeting them, but how we're able to do something later, right? I think that cooperation between startups and big corporations or institutions create this kind of an halo effect or ripple effect. It's like the drops in a pond, right? I mean, every euro you put in innovation generates for sure return on investment, generates for sure revenues, but these drops in the pond generate these ripples that are changing how your company sees innovation, how you learn, how you, more importantly, foster cultural change. I think that it's very important that corporations do more of these things, right? Work together with the startups.
Miguel, I am very curious to ask you a question around how can startups and our teams watching this right now look at partnering with corporates? What is your advice to them? How should they approach speaking to companies like Telefonica?
My whole life, so I was on the other side of the table for more than 15 years. So I would say it's very important that we, yeah. Well, I don't know if it's darker for sure. No,
it's not dark at all.
No, I would say, I mean, it's very important that as an entrepreneur, you put yourself in the feet of the corporate person, and you try to understand what would get that person, your liaison. In a way, let me put it very bluntly, while we get this person on the side of the table be promoted. So try to find out how you aligned to their own goals. And it's not so much about your perfect pitch, about your perfect presentation as an entrepreneur. It's about understanding the corporation's strategic alignment. So think with a corporate mindset.
So Miguel, if I was a big company now who never worked with startups, but I wanted to, like, what is the one advice you would give to this large company to begin with?
If you have never worked with startups, you better hurry. So this is a perpetual reinvention. So you need to really open your mindset. The thing is not about finding the perfect startup. That does not exist, the perfect startup. Find a startup that fits your strategic alignment, and then figure out internally what are the bottlenecks that you have on your process, on your systems, to be able to integrate that startup. Usually the problem is not outside, it is inside.
Love it. Thank you, Miguel. Over to Head of Account Managers, Nikolaos Stergiannis.
Complicated. It's a Greek name, so it should be complicated, right? It's Stergiannis.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. It's a great honor for me to stand here with you and share the stage with extraordinary speakers. Being a researcher and an entrepreneur myself, I understand the challenges of between research ideas and final products. Therefore, for me, MATCHATHON was a working environment where I was able to apply part of my research knowledge and experience to real-world situations and translate this into practical solutions, together with the help, of course, and the support of so many motivated people. It's amazing. I'm humbled by the opportunity I had to join as a head of account managers, and especially support to this tremendous effort, I have to say, of the EUvsVirus hackathon, and now the MATCHATHON. A friend initially had described that amazing experience he had, and then I decided to join and contribute in this mission as well. So I'm grateful and proud of being part of such a motivated and committed group of people coming from different backgrounds and different continents. but united under the same cause. That's very important. Now, our objective as a team and the main target was and is to act as an impact multiplier by enabling the interaction between the winners of the hackathon and entities from the private, public, academia, and research sectors. We have done so by creating a virtual matchmaking environment facilitated by colleagues who have acted as a liaison between the winners and the entities pledging support to them. Our first priority is equal and fair treatment to all the projects. The matchmaking process is transparent and we ensure tailored supporting services to all the participants, also to the partners. And of course, new partners are still welcome. So please join us if you're watching this video. Time is relative, I would say. From our frame of reference, we managed to accomplish all these wonderful things in just less than 2 months. An achievement that we should also acknowledge to our mentor, the Deputy Head of Innovation Ecosystems at the EIC, Mr. Isidro Lasso. What we have really achieved here in MATCHATHON is that we created a micro innovation ecosystem where different parties from private, public sector, academia, research environment came all together under one mission to bridge innovative solutions to those who actually need them the most and save lives. So it's very, very nice initiative. Now a word, if I may, for all the projects that participated. I would like to say that there is no such thing as failure. In a fast-growing world, research and innovation stand on the failures of ideas which did not have the required maturity level to cause some form of action. We, at the EUvsVirus, cause this action for you and ensure that your message will be delivered all around the world. It's amazing because imagine that all the people within this organization, we are working for these 120 projects. So the final goal, the final aim is to turn these ideas to final products. One thing is for sure, I learned a lot of this process, and one of the most important things that I witnessed is during the past days was that with tremendous motivation and a sense of mission, everything is possible. And I think that is exactly the core of this matchathon.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nicholas.
What are the facts and figures now, Nick? Because you mentioned some of the number of the teams and how many meetings were made. I mean, this has been a matchathon, right? The purpose was to connect startup and idea with corporate and opportunity. Tell me about how many meetings and were there any success stories?
We have an indication for this. It's actually more than 1,000, but we have to consider also that we are using different forms of communication. So this number is only reflected from the matchmaking platform that we have. Keep in mind that we also use Slack channels and other medias to communicate with each other. So I think this is actually can be multiplied easily by 10 easily, this number. So I can give you a better number for the total number of pledges that we have because I just checked the numbers before this meeting. So I'm very happy to announce you that we have 191 pledges, 25 from private corporate partners, and we have 151 confirmed. That means it's done. So,
Nicholas,
yes.
Pledges. What is a pledge? Break that down for me.
Yeah, the pledge at this phase, I would not like to extend this a lot because we're not talking about a legal agreement here. So it could be different forms of supporting a project. It
From
could
investment to client partnership,
exactly.
To, a mentorship, you name it, right? Yeah.
Financial aid, coaching, mentorship, yes, as you said. So access maybe to market, networking, a lot of different things that every partner can support.
If you are watching this and you are a partner and you're not one of those pledges, tag your company right now in the comments, get in contact with the European Commission or the EUvsVirus team. They will help you and connect you to these teams, these ideas. They have an incredible platform, the Matchathon platform, which everyone should continue to use, please. It has been available. You can still go see the teams that were part of the hackathon, the some 2,160 ideas that were suggested in dev posts. Those are still live and still available for you to sift through. You can sort by industry and sort by idea. I urge you to do the same.
Yes, last but not least, we have 108 active partners, private corporate partners. We have a lot of partners from academia, and we have 51 account managers that are working very hard to keep in touch and support them provide tailored services to every partner. So last calculation, if I may, imagine that we have two partners that actually provided support to all the projects. So if we count down the numbers, we can see that we have a total number of pledges, which is equal to 445. It's
Wow.
an amazing number, and consider that we achieved this number only in a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Good news is that we postpone, so we still have one more week till Thursday. So feel free to join us, and those partners who are in progress, doing communication with projects, I hope that we will close these pledges as well for them, and then we'll have even bigger number in the end of the day, of the week.
Love it. Thank you, Nicholas, and thank you, Jean-David and Miguel. Matt always does a wonderful sum up, so I'll take it away.
I'm gonna not break for tradition, and as we come to an end, I just want to sum up the conversations that Uri and I have been having over the last month now or so. We've done quite a few live streams. I believe it's up to 48 live streams. I think this is the 49th live stream, so we have to do one more at least to make it 50 during this crisis and this EU versus virus. And there have been running threads because we've asked all these participants to sum up in one word or a sentence what this has taught them and what we need to do and to activate ourselves and get ourselves out of this corona crisis. And there have been a few running themes, one of which is solidarity. Help one another, not to get religious, but help thy neighbor. We need to support one another. We are neighboring nations in a community of the European Union. The European Union has never looked and never seen stronger than it is today. Adaptability, see the opportunity in the crisis, and empathy. Have empathy with everyone, because right now, these are not normal working environments. These are not normal professional settings. So having an understanding that we're all going through this in our own way, be humble and be empathetic to people. Never waste a good crisis was something that kept coming out. Very opportunistic perspective, but we have an opportunity now to rebuild economies, rebuild nations, rebuild industries, rebuild those with the SDG goals at the core of it, with gender diversity, with sexual orientation diversity at the core of it. We have an opportunity to press the reset button and rebuild and leapfrog our economies and our nations and the European Union to a union that we all will be smiling to represent. We are all one. Flags aside, we are the European Union. We are stronger together. I know that's been a hashtag that's been going throughout this event. So just to finalize on 3 points now, the deadline for pledges is been extended until Thursday at the end of day, the end of play European time. So there's still an opportunity if you want to get involved, if you want to support a company, if you have something to offer. Now, bear in mind, that can be advisory, that can be mentorship, that can be support via financial or other. Get involved.
Highly recommended.
Highly recommended. Keep using the platforms, the MATCHATHON platform, the COVID-19 platform. That's been created by the European Commission. And an official press release will be made in the first week of June about the final pledges. So we'll let you know during the next week a bit more about that. And finally, in Jean-David's words, this is not the end. This is the beginning, and we need everyone's support to make it happen. A personal thank you from Uria and myself, from Natasha Curry, who's been instrumental to making these live streams.
Fantastic.
And many
Big
of these
round
things,
of
guys.
applause.
So thank you, Natasha.
Thank you, Natasha. You've done a great job.
Isidro Lasso as well. You are a champion, as well as Michael Bonito and Yosina Zivile. And there are so many more we could thank, but the list would just go on and we'd keep everyone away from their Sunday evenings. So for the very last time, for a while now, I am going to tee up our music and I'm going to say thank you so much from our live studio in Oslo, Norway. My name is Matthew C. Smith.
And my name is Ilya.
Let's dance it off together, everyone.
What are we going to do now?
What are we going to do now? I don't know. We're open for business, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.
Have a nice Sunday evening.
And get involved.
Hey.